Hello, how is everyone? In this video, we're going to check out what the basic maintenance for any vehicle involves. This is very generic and it's very easy to do, and we can save quite a bit of money if we do it ourselves. For this video, I'm going to cover what coolant is, which I will proceed to check since the engine is cold. As we can see, the coolant level is in its place, and the color of the coolant is correct. It should be a bright color. Similarly, we must ensure that the radiator coolant reservoir is at the proper level. We can look at it from the side if it's hard to see from above. We're also going to check the air filters. In this case, it's a conical filter which is washable. And we're going to look at the two types of filters available. We'll also check the brakes, and most importantly, the engine oil. The first thing we have to do is block the rear wheel so we can lift the front of the car. Now let's turn it on, and we'll leave it on for about 5 to 10 minutes so the oil heats up and comes out better.
I will leave it for about 10 minutes. We also don't want the oil to be too hot.
Well, 10 minutes later the temperature has risen a bit, so I'm going to turn off the engine, put it in first gear and pull the handbrake up tight. Now let's lift the vehicle. Let's make sure to use towers to ensure it won't fall on us. Now we proceed to remove the drain screw. First I'm going to loosen it with a wrench. Make sure we're turning it the right way or we'll damage the oil pan. And before it's completely out, we're going to place our container to catch the oil and we'll let it fall. I'll let it drain for a while. While the oil finishes draining, let's check the air filters as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. This filter is conical and washable, which I already cleaned 2 months ago. I cleaned it with CarboClean and it's not necessary to clean it so often.
I do it every year.
We can also find this type of filter that is inside its box. This is the stock filter of a 2003 Lexus, and as we could see, the filter is not washable. We have to throw it away and replace it with a new one. Now the new one just slides into the box,
And we put the lid on, then its respective clips. This one uses 3.
After doing this, the oil has finished draining and I'm going to place the drain screw back. As always, we'll screw it in by hand. And I'm going to clean up any excess oil that might have been left over here. Now I'm going to grab my wrench and tighten it to about 15 pounds of torque. Is here the burnt oil. We already know we need to recycle it responsibly. Now I'm going to change the oil filter. Ideally, we should be able to remove it by hand, but if we can't, we'll have to use the specific tool for filters. I made a detailed video on how to do the oil change. I'll leave it up here. Here I have the filter and here's the new filter. As I mentioned this in the oil change video, we need to apply a little oil to the gasket to make sure it seals well. Due to the position of this filter, I can't apply oil before installing it, so I'm just going to use a bit more oil than usual. We finish screwing it on, and always with hand strength only. Now we proceed to fill our engine with oil. In this case I'll use 10W30 and I'll use 3.7 liters. And we place the fill cap. After this we go inside the vehicle and start the engine once more. Once this is done, we go under the vehicle to look for any oil leaks that might have remained, either from the plug or the filter. After this, we'll move on to check the spark plugs and wires, or if there are no wires, the coils. But I just changed these cables not long ago, and I also changed them with them. So I'm going to skip this step, but if I haven't checked them in a while, it's very good to check. Now I am going to check the fluid for the brakes. As we can see, it is at an appropriate level and the color is not very dark, so we can still leave it a bit longer. The hydraulic fluid, if we had it, we'd need to ensure it's at the right level and not too fluid. Now we proceed to remove the tire to be able to check the brakes. And for added safety, we're going to place the tire under the frame. In addition to this, we're going to use towers. Once the tire is outside, we're going to proceed to remove the screws from the brake caliper. In this case, I'll use a visor since the pin that holds the screw was turning along with the screw and I had to hold it. But once the screw is loose, I can continue to remove it without holding the pin, and I'll remove both screws. I've already removed both screws. Now I'm going to remove the caliper, and we should not let the caliper hang from the brake line. As we can see, the pills are quite worn out. We could leave them like this for another month, but I'm going to change them. I'll leave the video up here. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to place the caliper and I'm going to put the screws in their respective place. And I'm going to tighten them to about 20 pounds of torque. After this, I proceed to place the tires. And each of the nuts. We should tighten the nuts in a star pattern or in an X pattern. Since I have 4, I'll do it in an X pattern. And once the vehicle is down, I will torque the nuts to 80 foot-pounds of torque.
Always in an pattern.
Alright, that's it for the basic maintenance. The only thing left to do would be to check the lights. We must make sure that pedestrian crossings or indicators work correctly. It's one of the most important. Also, the high and low beams should switch properly. In my case, I have fog lights, so additional one. In this video, I tried to cover the most important things, whether it's oil, filters or coolant, brake fluid, hydraulic fluid, brakes, all of that is the most important. This service should be performed once every 3 months, and it's not necessary to mention the tires since we should check them every time we stop at a gas station. So if you like the video, hit like, subscribe to my channel, and here are 2 more videos that might interest you.